Today, in a handful of countries, the sheltered workshop offers a means for the handicapped citizen, unable to return to the normal community, a chance to give expression to his acquired skills and to fulfill the natural desire to work at something useful. All men share in the need to work, to take part in a common goal, to see the results of their labor. This is true of everyone, including the retarded. Some sheltered workshops are highly industrialized. They offer a variety of jobs that require advanced skill levels and the ability to transfer rapidly from one task to another. Other workshops, unfortunately, are little more than extensions of the institution's traditional basket-making enterprise. Even though the retarded is kept active, this type of work can become dull and wearing, especially if the worker is capable of accomplishing more complex tasks. Simple repetitive tasks, instead of stimulating the worker who is able to respond to greater challenges, can, in some cases, have a negative effect, resulting in his regression. Thus, the sheltered workshop, to be truly effective, must accommodate as broad a range of workers as possible. It must provide challenging tasks for people with high skill levels. And of course, it must provide simpler tasks for those not so fortunate. Even though sheltered workshops are not considered profit-making ventures, their survivability often depends upon how much overhead can be defrayed by saleable products and services. And the key to defraying the overhead is to provide as wide a range of jobs as possible and to match them closely with the appropriate available skill level. A sheltered workshop geared to a more sophisticated operation, adequately staffed with relatively high-skilled employees, is no chance happening. Two things make it possible. First, the workshop facilities and procedures must be specially designed to accommodate a wide range of employee disabilities. And second, early intervention in the life of the retarded, followed by long-term intensive training that will prepare him for the day he can assume a responsible workshop role at the highest skill level possible within the limiting factors of his handicap. Let's first look at the workshop's responsibility in accommodating the task to be performed to the disability or limitation of the retarded. Each job must be analyzed with careful consideration given to hand and arm movements, perceptual skills, and other working requirements. Given appropriate training in the sensory motor elements of the task, the worker's effectiveness is further enhanced by mechanical devices that make the job easier. For example, this woman is being trained to perform simple wiring jobs. She has adequate finger control and can turn the screwdriver quite well. However, she cannot hold the work in one hand while using the screwdriver with the other. A hollowed-out board was designed to hold her work. These devices, designed to accommodate the worker, are known throughout the industry as jigs. Here's another jig, designed to hold the work firmly during a woodworking operation. Here is a more complicated jig. It permits the retarded to line up two sides of a frame he is making. The jig automatically takes care of such critical matters as the spacing between the two sides and their squareness. The worker can now perform his main task, gluing the third side to the frame. Jigs, properly designed, can make power tool operation relatively foolproof. In this case, the work is advanced into the jig until it stops, precisely at the point where the hole is needed. The wooden slat with the pre-drilled holes becomes a jig in itself, telling the next man on the assembly line exactly where the nails should go. And of course, the box he is working on is held firmly in another form of jig. The idea is to make the job as easy as possible and to always accommodate the worker's disabilities, to let the jig make the decisions while the retardate does the work. This is a form of jig also, a line to guide the worker's eye. And jigs can be used to ensure an accurate count. When the jig is full, the count is complete, and the product can be packaged. When they're not part of the sheltered workshop staff, experienced factory foremen should be brought in to help break down the task to its essentials and to custom design the necessary jigs with the abilities and disabilities of the workers in mind, such as this pre-drilled form to hold part of a brass lock assembly. The jig ensures that the holes will be drilled exactly where they're needed, eliminating any need for the retardate to measure, to align, or to calculate. The same industrial talent used to engineer the required jigs can also break down almost any manufacturing task into a series of relatively uncomplicated steps. For example, this is the rather unassuming start of a popular European toy known as Ducky. It is manufactured and packaged entirely by retardates. Each worker has been given only one task to perform, only one set of simple actions to master. When a machine was used in the execution of one of the steps, the actions required of the operator were kept to a minimum. The completed toy is a useful product, has a cash value, and is distributed throughout European retail stores at prices competitive with comparable items. The same is true of this beach ball, another manufacturing challenge that industrial experts or production experts broke down into a series of relatively simple steps. The fabrication of the beach ball requires the use of heavy machines throughout most of the production cycle. The machines have been supplied by a local manufacturer who finds it worthwhile to subcontract much of the beach ball assembly to the sheltered workshop without any sacrifice in quality of workmanship. The workshop, of course, is not a profit-making business. Its aim is to make a useful and rewarding life for its residents. But the undertaking of contract work helps defray the cost of running the shop and gives the workers their own pocket money. The work is contracted for at the ordinary rate for union labor. The workshop distributes this money on a piecework basis. Thus, the workshop charges no more or less than the work would cost in a private shop or service. Since normal employees can usually produce several times the output of the retarded worker, actual payment to the workshop is quite small in terms of total man-hours expended. But there are other substantial rewards. The workshop sometimes gains the free use of very costly machines that it otherwise would not have access to. This provides an opportunity for some of the more skilled workers to gain truly professional experience that in another day, another time, would never have been possible. experience that sometimes leads to placement in private industry. This, in turn, upgrades the skill level of the workshop's laboring force, enabling the shop to take on a greater variety of work from local industry, thus keeping more people employed on useful, productive jobs. Variety and flexibility are the watchwords of the workshop. The greater the number of jobs the workshop takes on, the better chance it will have to accommodate its more restricted and handicapped workers. These fingers are quick and nimble. But how about this woman with her crippling defects? Her pride, her sense of dignity, her need to work is no less. And this man, severely retarded, physically handicapped, and blind. The machine is expensive and virtually automatic. The entire operation hardly begins to pay for itself. But the true profits are measured in human terms. For this machine enables a life to be reclaimed, a life that, at one time, would have been given up as hopelessly lost. This woman is subject to frequent seizures. Yet through her workshop, she has found an opportunity to work, to be productive, to take satisfaction from doing something worthwhile. This girl is so limited in her skills that the only job she can do is to press a self-sticking seal on a manufacturer's product. Yet, the workshop accommodates her, even though she may take 10 times as long as a normal worker to perform her task. Thus, to provide jobs for as many people as possible, to accommodate as many handicapped conditions as possible, the workshop must be kept flexible and versatile. Contracting to reclaim old appliances is one way to provide a variety of jobs for all skill levels, from the most rudimentary cleaning or scraping to a rather advanced combination of skills called for in a disassembly task, such as this. Competence to undertake such work does not come by chance. The skill in these fingers is the result of many years of carefully sequenced training. From the very beginning, the child is led through a series of experiences, each one designed to give him the capabilities he will realistically need to function in the adult world. Along this route, traditional academics give way to more practical sessions involving the counting of money, the purchase of goods. Emphasis is placed upon teaching the child to assemble, to work with skillful hands, to use common tools. In the child's development, there is a transitional period that prepares him for the working environment. Programs vary, but one successful plan allows the child to continue school during the morning and in the afternoon put in a few hours with an actual workshop. The school hours are spent largely in refining his skills, giving him the feel of tools as an extension of his hands, teaching him to sort objects according to size and shape. His spatial relationships are strengthened as he is taught to assemble a three-dimensional project from two-dimensional drawings. Afternoons are spent on the actual assembly lines of a sheltered workshop. Here he begins to make the transition from the school environment to the working environment. Thus, the retardate who is oriented to the workshop, who can relate to others, and who possesses the skill and dexterity to accomplish useful work is the product of a long and carefully programmed curriculum. And it is important to remember that the objective of this long-range plan is not the staffing of a profitable workshop, but rather giving people who would otherwise be denied an opportunity to seek fulfillment through doing something useful. Without work, without the ability to do work, these people would be completely dependent upon their families or upon society for every aspect of their living. It is because of this that everything humanly possible must be done to give the retarded citizen, regardless of handicap, the chance for such mental and physical stimulation, the chance to participate in the beneficial activity inherent in day-to-day employment. This may require special transportation, special provisions for the handling of individual cases, but whatever the price or whatever inconvenience, the ultimate measure of the program's value is in the number of people whose lives have been enlarged by the workshop concept. As the worker matures, he outlives his immediate family or his foster parents. If he is unable to live without supervision, he must be accommodated during non-working hours. The hostel is one such provision. It gives him not only a home with the necessary supervision, but a chance to remain in the community and to continue his active, purposeful life. Each person, however handicapped, has been given an invitation to live, to enjoy the same everyday experiences that normal people take for granted, to know a life that is purposeful, that embraces not only the satisfaction of work, but the sharing of pleasures, the security of friendship. In each sheltered workshop program, there should be a constant effort to place the more skilled and independent workers in shops and factories within the community. Jan is one who has bridged the two. Trained in a sheltered workshop, he now holds his own in a commercial kitchen. Helga has become a seamstress in a shop in Copenhagen. For both, the concept of the sheltered workshop has delivered them from a life that, at one time, would surely have approximated exile. However, it must be remembered that two interacting factors make this degree of success possible. First, the work competence, or skill level, of the retardate, carefully directed from the earliest age possible. And secondly, the ability of the workshop to accommodate the widest range of disabilities by the use of innovative devices that will allow them to make greater use of their limited skills. With these two factors present, the sheltered workshop program will absorb a greater number of retardates, ranging in skill level from those capable only of gross tasks to those able to take on fairly sophisticated work. A progressive, well-managed workshop is of little use without a sequential training program to provide the greatest number of capable employees. And conversely, a carefully structured training program reaches a dead end if there is no ultimate place for the trainee, regardless of how handicapped, to give maximum expression to his newly acquired skills.